Hey guys, I'm Fancy.
And I'm Colleen.
And this is Murder by Design.
Hey guys, so this week we're going to be talking about a case that you've been dying to talk about, Fancy, Natalee Holloway.
I have. This is a case I followed for a long time. It's one that it just boggles my mind that we still don't really have an answer on this. And it's from 2005. Like, it's been a bit. I mean, you don't think that's too far away, but it kind of is. I mean, it's 15 years now. So Natalee Holloway, if you don't know who she is, was an 18-year-old girl who vanished on May 30th, 2005, near the end of a high school graduation trip to Aruba in the Caribbean. She was from Alabama, and unfortunately, this is one case that really doesn't have a happy ending, and it is still unsolved. So, and that's one of the things we wanted to start to get into, talking more about some of these unsolved cases, these missing person cases. We're going to be launching a podcast soon with Todd Matthews, the former director of NAMIS, all about missing persons cases.
So getting into the meat of this case, there isn't a ton of detail about Natalee's past. She was only 18. She was born to David and Beth in 1986. She's young. After her parents divorced in 1993, Natalee and her younger brother went and lived with their mother. And then in 2000, her mom remarried to a man named George, but they call him Jug. And they moved to Mountain Brook, Alabama, which was a wealthy suburb of Birmingham, where Natalee graduated from high school with honors. And so she, very intelligent, smart girl. She was on her high school's dance squad, a member of the National Honor Society. She even had received a full scholarship to the University of Alabama and had planned to go there in the fall. So this isn't a girl who, going on a class graduation trip and then would ditch and leave, everything behind. Mm-hmm. She had everything to live for. Mm-hmm. And shortly after her disappearance, Natalee's uncle, Paul Reynolds, even said that she was even a bit naive, hadn't dated a lot, she didn't party a lot, and she was actually going to go to college for pre-med.
Mm-hmm. So on a full scholarship, no less, you know.
Smart girl.
So she, she's not one that's going to vanish and never be heard from again. And unfortunately, that's where the story really begins. She heads out for a what is senior graduation trip, like so many of our seniors do, and never returns. And it's just heartbreaking.
And I guess so. I graduated high school in 2012, and
Such a baby.
Yes, especially because I was the youngest person in my grade. But like my parents were, protective. But like during senior year, like we went to the Dells once. We went to Six Flags once. Mm-hmm. But I don't think my parents would have ever let me go on a massive class, trip to a different country.
Well, a lot of kids do.
I know they do.
I had friends that went backpacking across Europe for a year before they started college.
Yeah.
And
right, she was 18. I was only 17 when
she
I
was
graduated,
18.
So.
And I mean, she went to Aruba. Like, it's not like she went to Belize or somewhere that was I think about this. Always reminds me, there's a movie, and I believe it's based on a true story, about two girls that end up going to India and over there, and they get thrown into a jail because of drug smuggling that some guy that they met up with got them involved in, and they didn't even know, and they ended up in this prison over there. And this was the same situation, like they were in, on their senior trip. And it's like, so be careful where you send your kids on the senior trip,
Right. And I mean, when we'll talk about it, but I feel like, in terms of chaperones, it could have been better.
Sure. So just getting into a little bit of the case here. So on Thursday, May 26, 2005, Holloway and 124 fellow graduates of Mountain Brook High School arrived in Aruba for a 5-day unofficial graduation trip. And see, okay, so that's the difference here. Like, I think this would have been like, you would think that this would be much safer, right? Because there's 124 kids, right? And
Mhm.
I mean, I know that people send their kids off with one or two besties and they go, and that's
Right.
it, and so this seems like this was like, oh, let's try and do this for the kids, but still keep it like, graduate, like with chaperones and some sort of supervision.
Right.
But
I think they tried, but I mean, it's a lot of students.
yeah,
And which for the math, there were only 7 chaperones. And so that's 18 students per adult.
wow.
And in a foreign country where everybody's going off and doing their own thing, it's easy to see how
Yeah. Yeah, because the teacher, one of the chaperones, Bob Plummer, he said the chaperones met with the students each day to make sure everything was fine. But the women who organized the trip stated the chaperones weren't supposed to keep up with like their every move. So it's like, check in, make sure the kids are there. Oh, all right, you guys are all right. You still are okay. You're good. All right. Go on about your day. So,
yeah.
I mean, it was mainly just to make sure that they like were there,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Seems like you said not a whole lot of chaperoning there. But then again, I mean, these are students that have graduated and are adults at this point. So,
Right. And so, I mean, it's yes and no. It's great and not great.
right.
And right, being it unofficial, so the school did not organize this, and so there's not, rules and regulations. This is pretty much like a giant like spring break
situation.
Yeah.
In another country. Right.
Yeah. So,
right.
And I think that was hard for the family because like they're in a different country now.
Mm-hmm.
And so the police commissioner, Gerald Dumpig, who headed the investigation from mid-2005 until 2006, stated that the students engaged in wild partying, a lot of drinking, lots of room switching every night. They said that they knew the Holiday Inn told them that they weren't even welcome next year, which must be bad because, I mean, 124 students, that's a lot of money that hotel bringing in. So there probably was a decent amount of damage or just deteriorating away from other guests. So they were not welcome back.
We do have statements saying that Natalie did drink all day, every day while she was on the trip. She started early morning with cocktails, so much drinking that she wouldn't show up for breakfast several mornings. 2 of Holloway's classmates, Liz Kane and Claire Fireman, agreed that the drinking was kind of excessive. So I kind of feel like this is a situation where it was like a girl who had done everything right, had gotten a full scholarship, got all the grades, was tired, and wanted to have some fun.
Let loose.
Have some fun. And perhaps, maybe made the wrong choices, got hooked up with the wrong people, and something really bad happened to her,
Mm-hmm.
So she was last seen by her classmates around 1:30 a.m. on Monday, May 30th, and she was leaving the Orangestad Bar and nightclub and Carlos's and Charlie's, and she left in a car with 17-year-old Jordan Vandersloot, a Dutch honors student who was living in Aruba, attending the International School of Aruba, and his 2 Surinamese friends, brothers 21-year-old Deepak Kalapai, the owner of the car, and 18-year-old Stashis Kalapai?
Satish. I think it's Kalpo.
Remember these names, guys. These are going to come up again. But
yes.
I'm hoping I'm not like.
If we mispronounce them, we apologize. They are foreign names.
Right.
And so Holly was scheduled to fly home later that day, but she did not appear for her return flight, and her packed luggage and her passport were found in her Holiday Inn room. So she did not leave Aruba. She did not leave the country.
No, she didn't go anywhere. So immediately following Holloway's missed flight, her mother and stepfather flew with friends to Aruba by private jet. Like, now, see, this bothers me. Like, if you're chaperoning at this point, would you not notice that there's a girl missing going home?
Right, like that's like the check off list. Like, Jamie, yep, check. Natalie.
No, oh no, Natalie. Okay, well, we're still gonna go. Just leave her here, folks. I don't care. Bye. I mean, we're in Aruba. Who cares? Like, wow. Like, really? We didn't think it was important at that point in time to maybe alert the authorities, freak out a little bit. Where is she? Right. Notify parents. Hey, we've lost your child. Like, no, I don't know.
And so then remember, people, this is 2005, so cell phones are not what they are today. and most likely she did not have one. If she did, it would have been more like the basic. I think I still have mine because it was a phone that Tim and I started dating with, like a gray flip phone from US Cellular. The little antenna that you pull up.
Mine was like this big, and it had like a little thingy that pulled down, but this is in 92, because I had one all the way back then because I did the acting thing, and I had to, like, if I was on the set, I had to have some way to call in again, and beepers were not enough, and we can get payphones, you know, on set, so I had to have it. It was like honking big, and it had a little thingy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, by 2005 they were a little smaller, but
they're like this big. To text, it wasn't, you know, like a keyboard. It was
like
1, 2, 3 to get a C. A. Press it multiple times to get the letter, and if you screwed up and went too far, you just had to keep pressing.
Right, and go back, right. And so within 4 hours of landing on the island, they presented the Aruban police with the name of and address of Vandersloot, who was the person with whom Holloway left the nightclub. And Bev stated that Vandersloot's full name was given to her by the night manager at the Holiday Inn, who supposedly recognized him on a videotape. Her parents and their friends went to the Vandersloot home with 2 Aruban policemen to look for Holloway. And Vandersloot initially denied even knowing Holloway's name, but then he told the following story, which was corroborated by Deepak Kalpo. You want to tell the story here, Colleen?
Yep. So Vandersloot related that they had drove Holloway to the California night house area of Varashi Beach because she wanted to see the sharks, which it's late at night. I don't know, smart idea there. They later dropped Holloway off at her hotel at 2 a.m. According to Vandersloot, Holloway fell down as she exited the car, but she refused his help. He stated that as he and Deepak left and were driving away, Holloway was approached by a dark man in a black shirt similar to those worn by security guards, and then that was it.
So I don't know.
Remember, this is story 1.
Right, this is story 1. So they just see some random guy approach her, and they're like, that's all right, she's fine. She fell down, she's fine. Some random guy approaches her, let's go, hit the gas. Like, I don't know. And I'm not even sure. I mean, we're going to get into this a little more, because I'll be honest, I followed this case for a long time, but because it's 15 years ago, I have forgotten a lot of the details. I don't know that they ever, like, caught her getting back on, like, the security cam coming back into the Holiday Inn. I don't think they did.
No, they did not.
Yeah, and so there's no corroboration of this story with physical evidence. So this is just their tale, and I'm sitting on mine, right? So
and so the search efforts and rescue attempts occur immediately. Hundreds of volunteers from Aruba and the United States joined in the effort. During the first few days of the search, the Aruban government gave thousands of civil servants the day off to participate in the rescue efforts, and 50 Dutch Marines conducted an extensive search of the shoreline. Natalie's mom was provided with housing, initially at the Holiday Inn, where she coincidentally stayed in the same room as her daughter had occupied.
Oh, God,
I don't like that. No, I don't like that at all.
No.
For evidence purposes, but also for, like, emotional.
Just emotionally. Can you imagine?
My daughter slept on this bed 3 days ago.
This was the last place that my daughter was seen. Right? Like,
And then subsequently, she stayed at the presidential suite at the nearby Wyndham Hotel. So it was great on the Aruban government to assist so much in these rescue efforts, because obviously this is a foreigner, and to give civil servants the day off, you just go look.
Right. But okay, so here's the answer here. Reports indicate that Holloway did not appear on any nighttime surveillance camera footage of the hotel lobby. However, the Holiday Inn says that the cameras were not functioning the night Holloway vanished, but this is a fact that's been contested several times, back and forth, even by her parents. So, I mean,
Well, and the security guard said that he had recognized Vandersloot, like, on a videotape. Right. So you have a videotape.
You have a videotape of some sort, obviously, right? I don't know. But I mean, that could have been from another night. Who knows? Like, she could have been partying with him for several nights. I don't know. The search for physical evidence was extensive and subject to occasional false leads. For example, a possible blood sample taken from Deepak Kalpo's car was tested, but determined not to even be blood. From the early days of the investigation, American law enforcement participated in wide-ranging involvement in the case. But unfortunately, starting almost immediately, they started arresting people which, I don't know. I kind of think that's potentially harmful to the case if you're not sure what the hell you're doing,
Well, and it allows for the many, many stories that we're about to get into. And
Right.
I think it hurt their cause overall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So on June 5th, Aruban police detained Nick John and Abraham Jones, former security guards from the nearby Allegro Hotel, which was closed for renovation actually at the time, on suspicion of murder and kidnapping. Authorities have never officially disclosed the reason for their arrests, but according to new accounts, statements made by Vandersloot and the Capo brothers may have been a factor in their arrest. So they turned on these two guys. Reports also indicated that the former security guards were known for cruising hotels to pick up women, and at least one of them had a prior incident with law enforcement. However, they were released 6 days later on June 13th, or just on June 13th without being charged. On June 9th, Vandersloot and the Kelper brothers were arrested on suspicion in kidnapping the murder of Holloway. So within these days, so while these other two guys are arrested for murder and kidnapping, now they arrest the Kelper brothers and Vandersloot for murder and kidnapping.
That's a lot. Okay, this is are we just throwing people at the wall and hoping it sticks?
Yes.
This is not a bowl of spaghetti, guys. We're not preparing spaghetti and throwing it and hoping that the spaghetti is loose enough that it sticks to the wall. This is real people, and I can't believe I've never seen anybody do it like this. Maybe it's just because it's a different country. I don't know. Maybe they can't question them unless they arrest them. I'm not sure. I don't know Aruban, laws and rules, but it seems sloppy at best.
Yes.
Really.
Yes. And so the Aruban laws allow for investigators to make an arrest based on serious suspicion. Which is always
okay, but still,
you're speculating because I may suspect something, but somebody else doesn't. So it gets muddy. And in order to continue holding the suspect in custody, an increasing evidential burden must be met at periodic reviews. And according to Dompig, the focus of the investigation centered on these three suspects from the get-go. So Deepak, the other brother, and
so the two brothers in Vandersloot, even though the other two were arrested, there's 5 people here, and you're talking about that you were focusing on 3. Then why did you arrest the other 2?
Right. And so Dompig stated that close observation of the 3 men began 3 days after Holloway was reported missing, and the investigation included surveillance, telephone wiretaps, and even monitoring of their email, which at that time was our current texting. And they have a lot of messages and contact evidence from that. Dompig indicated that pressure from Holloway's family caused the police to prematurely stop their surveillance and detain the 3 suspects.
Yeah, but I've seen the father investigated and not investigated, but interviewed. And while he wanted answers, I don't think that he was the type that was pressuring them to arrest people that they didn't have anything. And that man has been down there many, many times, following different leads. He has been led like a yo-yo, back and forth. Anytime he hears anything, he's down there trying to get answers and follow up. And he's many times had to push the police to do their jobs. But I don't know. I just
this is all within a week, and they've arrested 5 people. The wiretapping in the email tapping so quickly, also interesting. Clearly, I don't think warrants were needed to get that, or if there was a judge that was sure, do whatever. Because that's just a lot of immediate surveillance if you don't have a lot of evidence about it.
Right. Other than the fact that you were the last person seen with her, I don't think they had a whole lot more to go on. I don't know. But anyway, as the investigation continued, David Cruz, spokesman for the Aruban Minister of Justice, falsely indicated on June 11th that Holloway was dead and that authorities knew the location of her body. He later retracted the statement, saying he was a victim of a misinformation campaign. What in the hell is that?
You are the spokesperson for the Minister of Defense.
Either you have a body or you don't.
Or you knew the location of her body. No, no. Maybe don't make statements you don't have answers with.
Right? Oh, God. So that evening, Dom Pig alleged that to the Associated Press that one of the detained young men admitted something bad happened to Holloway after the suspects took her to the beach, and that suspect was leading police to the scene. The next morning, prosecution spokesperson or spokeswoman Vivian Vander Beezen refused to confirm or deny the allegation, simply stating that the investigation was at a very crucial, very important moment. Like, this is just like bad. This is a
It's
bad episode
bad.
of freaking like Law and Order. Like, seriously, did
It's bad. It's bad.
bad
And so
bad.
on June 17th, a sixth person, later identified as a disc jockey, Steve Gregory Crows, was also arrested. Vander Straten told the media that Crows was detained based on information from one of the other three detainees, which is just like shooting into the dark. I don't trust anybody or anything a suspect says, and then just arrest him immediately is crazy, especially when they're already giving inconsistent and
This is like, oh no, he did it. No, he did it. No, she did it. No, that guy over there, that guy over there. Like, what is happening here?
right.
The police are just like running in circles.
Right, the people across the street at that who were at that hotel, they did it. The disc jockey from that bar, he did it.
He did it. Like, is this just a case of like who done it, and we're just gonna, finger every single person? Like, I just, which way did he go? Like, which way did who to go? We're not a scare. It's not the scare from the freaking Wizard of Oz here, people. I mean, this is like there's a girl missing, and these are people's lives that you're screwing around with. Like, I don't know if any of these people are guilty or innocent or not. Let me tell you. But here's the thing: like, I can say that I would sure hope that there was a whole lot more than just, well, so and so said you were there, and then they'd be like, "Hi, you're being arrested for murder."
Well, so that brings back our recent interview with Cheryl McCollum regarding Derek Chauvin in the George Floyd case. You have to make sure that you have the case because you don't want it to be thrown out later. So, for these cops to just arrest these people on suspicion, and you're ruining your future chances, especially since this is not the only time that Vandersloot is going to get arrested in this case.
Right.
And so on June 22nd, the Aruban police detained Vandersloot's father, Paulus Vandersloot, for question. He was arrested the same day. Both Paulus and Crows were ordered to be released on June 26th. During this period, the suspects who had been detained changed their stories. Of course, all three indicated that Vandersloot and Holloway were dropped off at the Marriott Hotel Beach near the fishermen's huts.
Perhaps they're related to Leticia Stout, who changed her story 95 times before the police arrested her, but they didn't keep arresting her. At least they had the right stuff when they arrested her. I don't know.
Yep.
Anyway,
so Vandersloot stated that he did not harm Holloway, but he left her on a beach. And according to Satish Kleppo's attorney, David Kroc, Vandersloot called Kleppo to tell the later that he was walking home and sent him a text message 40 minutes later. At the same time, during the interrogation, Vandersloot detailed a third account that he was dropped off at home and Holloway was driven off by the brothers. So,
oh my goodness gracious! Like,
he cannot keep his story straight.
No, well, none of them can apparently. Like, this is crazy.
He's the worst liar out of all of them.
He is, and which leads me to believe that obviously still had something to do with it. Like, my money's on him. My money's on him. I don't know about the brothers. Maybe not. Maybe they're involved. Maybe not. Certainly, I don't think the security guards are. I definitely don't know that some random DJ was involved. No. My money is on Vandersloot, possibly his father, and the fact that maybe something bad happened. The thing is maybe it was an accident. Maybe something bad happened. Maybe something happened and now his father helped him cover it up. I mean, that's where I'm heading towards. I don't know. Like, this is kind of crazy. Like, why not? Jeez. So Dom Pig discounts the story, stating that the latest story came from when Vandersloot saw the other guys. The cowpoes were kind of finger pointing in his direction, and he wanted to screw them also by saying he was dropped off. So, well, it wasn't me, had to be them. I was out of here. But the story doesn't check out at all. He just wanted to screw Deepak. And so they had great arguments about this in front of the judge. And because their stories didn't match, following hearings before a judge, the Cowpoe brothers were released on Monday, July 4th, but Vandersloot was detained for an additional 60 days. Like, this is crazy. We have no evidence yet. We have nothing. We're releasing people, detaining people. People are being held for 60 days. Like, I don't know. The Aruban police justice system down there is not making sense to me. But hey, whatever.
Right, that whole, held without evidence.
What evidence? Like, yeah, there's no evidence. The only, you were last seen with her. That's it. Wow.
And so things just keep getting crazier. So after a local gardener came forward with information, a small pond near the Aruba Racquet Club was closed to the Marriott Hotel Beach, was partly drained between July 27th and July 30th. According to Natalie's stepdad, the gardener claimed to have seen Vandersloot attempting to hide his face as he drove into the racquet club with the brothers on the very early morning of May 30th between 2:30 and 3 a.m. And one of our favorite ladies, Nancy Grace, described the gardener as the man whose testimony cracks the case wide open. Right. Another person, the jogger, claimed to have seen men burying a blonde-haired woman in a landfill during the afternoon of May 30th. The police had searched the landfill in the days following Holloway's disappearance. After the jogger's statements, the landfill was searched 3 more times. The FBI used cadaver dogs to assist in the recovery operation, but it turned up nothing. So, like, they have their hearts, I think, in the right place, that they're putting in so much effort.
They're putting in the work. I mean, they're putting in the work, definitely. But what is going on here? Just
turn up the heat on Vandersloot and get him to actually tell what happened.
Well, I feel like what's happening is it's like they're nailed to they got one foot nailed to the floor and they're just running in circles. Like, it's not going anywhere. They just keep like circling around everything, but they're not. It's not. We're not obtaining any information here that's concrete. No. So Holloway's family initially offered $175,000, and donors offered another $50,000 for her safe return. 2 months after her disappearance, the reward was increased from $200,000 to $1 million, with a $100,000 reward for information leading to the location of her remains. And in August 2005, the reward for information leading to Natalie's corpse was increased from $100,000 to $250,000. So they've done everything they can do, including throwing money at this thing to try and get somebody to crack. We're still no further down the road here. So.
Right. And so the FBI announced that Aruban authorities had provided its agency with documents, suspect interviews, and other evidence. Investigators found a piece of duct tape with strands of blonde hair attached to it. The samples were tested at a Dutch lab. A group from the Aruban Police and Prosecutor's Office then traveled to the FBI Central Laboratory in Virginia to consult with the American investigators. The hair samples were tested a second time, but the hair samples did not belong to Natalie.
So then here come the Calpo brothers again. They were rearrested on August 26, 2005, along with another new suspect, 21-year-old Freddie Armabsit. I'm not even going to try.
No. Freddie A.
And it said that his client was suspected of taking photographs of an underage girl and having inappropriate physical contact with the same girl. This incident, having inappropriate physical contact, allegedly occurred before the Holloway disappearance, and his friends Vandersloot and the Kelpol brothers were supposedly involved in the incident. So Vandersloot's mother stated, "It's a desperate attempt to get the boys to talk, but there is nothing to talk about." While no public explanation was then made for the Calpo rearrest, Don Pig later said that it was an unsuccessful attempt to pressure the brothers into confessing.
It's just, and we'll get into that underage porn with girls in a little bit later, because that is something that kind of comes up with Vandersloot before.
Kids, I don't know. This is just like
he's a weirdo creep.
It's like a revolving door of people through the police station on this. Like,
yes.
I don't know. You don't haul in every suspect. You don't
arrest them.
Like, I don't know.
And so on September 3rd, the 4 detained suspects were released by a judge despite the attempts of the prosecution to keep them in custody. The suspects were released on the condition that they remain available to police. But in September, at the end, all restrictions on them were removed.
So in the months following his release, Vandersloot gave several interviews that explained his version of events. He indicated that Holloway wanted to have sex with him, but he did not because he didn't have a condom. He stated that Holloway wanted them to stay on the beach, but that he had to go to school in the morning. He was picked up by Statius Calpo at about 3 a.m. and left Holloway sitting on the beach. Though Calpo's attorney stated that his client had gone to sleep and had not returned to drive Vandersloot home, Vandersloot stated that he was somewhat ashamed to have left a young woman alone on the beach, albeit by her own request, and related that he was not truthful at first because he was convinced that Holloway would soon turn up.
Just tell the truth the first time.
Oh, Jesus. You know, I explained this to my children when they were very little. Like, there are 3 rules to lying. Like, the first rule, don't insult me with a crappy lie. If you're going to lie, just do a good one, okay? Second of all, don't lie to like a professional liar. You know, I'm an actress. So mama has to like make things up a lot for you know what she does for a living, so she might be able to spot when you're making something up. So possibly don't make things up unless you're really good at it, okay? And then like the third thing is like when you're caught, you're freaking caught. Like give it up at that point. When a woman says to you, hey, so did you know? Like, no, they know.
Yeah, you would know.
You know. When a woman is questioning you about something, she already knows the answer. So just admit it. Like that was like this.
Right,
you know,
you're gonna get in trouble more.
Right, if mommy comes to you and she asks you about something, chances are she probably already knows the answers that she's looking for. You probably should just tell her at that point. That was like the rules. And my kids learned this at like 5. These people obviously did not learn this.
No.
And it's just crazy.
In January 17th, 2006, Aruban police searched for Holloway's body in the sand dunes in the northwest coast of Aruba, as well as areas close by the Marriott Beach. And they did this a couple times. But shortly before leaving the case, the investigator Dumpig gave an interview to CBS in which he stated that he believed Holloway was not murdered, but probably died from alcohol or drug poisoning, and that someone later hid her body. Dumpig also stated that Aruba had spent about $3 million on the investigation, which is about 40% of the police operational budget. Dumpig indicated that there was evidence that pointed to possession, though not necessarily use, of illicit drugs by Holloway.
Well, doubting that. I'm absolutely not doubting that. She was in a partying
environment.
Right. And she's thinking this is my last time to party before I head off to school in the fall, you know, and I really want to have a good time. I've never partied in my life before, and this is my time. I totally can understand it. Like, do I agree with it? No, obviously not. But I can understand what she was doing, and these kids were all kind of, you know, wild and, you know, party animals at this point. Okay, great. But I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't think she just, like I said, maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was an accident. He called his dad. His dad came and helped him. But come on, at this point, it's been 15 years. Literally. Let's get these people some justice, you know?
Well, and if it's an accident, if she, you know, even if you're having sex with her and she passes out and stops breathing, you know, you stop and you try to perform CPR and you call 911. Because that, you know,
or whatever their version of it is down there, right?
Like you made the right decision, you were responsible, and you don't get charged because they, like, and then free as a bird, and then there's closure for the family and everybody else. Not 50 million different stories.
Like the stories are just killing me. Like, how can anybody keep up? Anyway. If you've been listening to our podcast, The Good Wives Guide to True Crime, then you might have noticed some changes. And that's because, you know, a little while ago, we switched over our hosting platform over to Buzzsprout.
And we love it. We couldn't have had a smoother transition. Buzzsprout has made it super simple and gave us amazing features that we weren't getting before. And if you've been thinking of hosting a podcast or you're looking for a new host, then we recommend giving Buzzsprout a try. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed at all the major podcast directories like Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more within minutes of finishing your recording.
One of the things that I really like too is that they offer opportunities for you to have affiliates right away. Like with some of the other ones, you had to wait to see if, you know, they would offer them to you or you had to go find your own affiliates. They have like 4 or 5 that are built in, one of them being Buzzsprout itself, you know, and then several others. And I've really thought that was good because it gives podcasters who maybe don't have a big, huge following yet an opportunity to try and make a little bit of money, you know, because I mean, obviously you want to be able to keep doing what you're doing, right? So join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. And if you follow the link in the show notes below, then you are going to get a $20 Amazon gift card because it lets the Buzzsprout know that we sent you. And so you get the $20 gift card if you sign up for a paid plan, and it helps support our show. So anyway, getting back to the case, that spring, Jeffrey von Kromvoort. God, these names, man.
It's Dutch.
I know. And Guido Weaver. And I'm sorry for any Dutch person out there that I am like butchering these names. I'm very, very, very sorry. But goodness.
We try.
Gracious.
We're trying.
Okay, so Jeffrey van Kromvoort and Guido Weaver was arrested by Aruban authorities on suspicion of criminal offenses related to Holloway's murder. Wait a minute. I thought that there was an accident and she just poisoned her, drug poisoning. Oh no, we're back to the murder again? Oh,
right.
Okay.
So it's been 9 months since she disappeared, and now we're arresting two different people.
Totally new people we've never heard of before. So,
in April 2006, a new search involving approximately 20 investigators was launched at the Vandersloot family residence in Aruba. Dutch authorities searched the yard and surrounding area using shovels and thin metal rods to penetrate the dirt. According to Vandersloot's dad, nothing suspicious was found, and all that was seized were diary entries of him and his wife and his personal computer, which was subsequently returned. According to Jassim Menser, managing editor of the Aruba's newspaper, investigators were following up on statements made during early suspect interrogations regarding communications between the Clappo brothers and Vandersloot.
How did these other two guys fit in? No freaking clue. Okay.
Nope.
So in May, the Calpo family residence was searched by the authorities. The two brothers were detained for about an hour upon objecting to the entry by police and Dutch investigators, but were released when the authorities left, citing what was described as newly discovered evidence. Aruban investigators rearrested Vandersloot and the Calpo brothers on November 21st, 2007 on suspicion of involvement in manslaughter now and causing seriously bodily harm that resulted in the death of Holloway. Vandersloot was detained by Dutch authorities in the Netherlands, while the Calpo brothers were detained in Aruba, and Vandersloot was returned to Aruba, where he was incarcerated. Like, okay, so it's been a year now. Like, what did they find that these people didn't throw away?
I don't think they found shit.
What?
Nothing.
Wouldn't you think they would have thrown everything away by now? I mean, if you, I don't. Jeez, Joseph and Mary. Unless so, some sort of token that they took, a trophy. I don't. Wow.
So soon after, Dave Holloway announced a new search for his daughter that probed the sea beyond the original 330-foot depths in which earlier searches had taken place. That search involved a vessel called the Persistence and was abandoned due to lack of funds by the end of February 2008 when nothing of significance was found.
Yeah, this father, he's
thrown everything.
Thrown everything he can. He goes down there over and over and over again through this whole thing, and it's heartbreaking. They even did like a 6-day special on Netflix, I think, and he goes down there and basically it's like chasing his tail over and over again. People just leading him on different things. And I almost feel like even the investigators that he hired are like, bleeding him dry of money. Like, this guy is just, good Lord, this poor guy. And so that November, a judge ordered the release of the Calpo brothers, despite attempts by the prosecution to extend their detention. Vandersloot was released without charge. So they bring him here from frickin' the Netherlands to bring him back to Aruba, and they don't even charge him? Mm-hmm. What in the ever-loving hell is going on? So he is released on December 7th due to lack of evidence implicating him, as well as a lack of evidence that Holloway died as the result of a violent crime.
Yeah,
what are we doing?
Not doing shit.
This is like, I mean, I think there's people on the internet that look into murders that are better than this. Where are the don't fuck with cats people? Where are the people trying to figure out what the freaking, the light switches are, and where are they? Because they would be doing a better job than this. Jesus, Joseph and Mary. Good Lord.
On December 18, 2007, prosecutor Hans Moss officially declared the case closed, and that no charges would be filed due to lack of evidence. On January 31st, 2008, Dutch crime reporter Peter de Vries claimed that he had solved the Holloway case. On February 1st, the Dutch media reported that Vandersloot made a confession regarding Holloway's disappearance. Later that day, Vandersloot stated that he was telling the individual what he wanted to hear and denied any involvement in her. That same day, Aruba's prosecutor office announced the reopening of the case. So Vandersloot goes to this reporter and confesses to killing her, and then you just make a statement like, no, I just wanted to tell them what they wanted to hear.
Psych. What a lick. Psych.
No.
Oh, sorry guys, I was just,
I wanted some publicity.
And this is insane. So now they've reopened the case. So the broadcast aired on February 3rd, 2008, including excerpts from footage recorded from hidden cameras and microphones in the vehicle of Peter Vanderim,
Patrick Vanderim.
Oh, Patrick Vanderim, a Dutch businessman and ex-convict who gained Vandersloot's confidence. Are you serious? And this was one of the points that I saw in the special. This was part of the special, and it was crazy. Like, you just kept going, oh my God, is something gonna happen? No, nothing happened. Is something gonna happen? Nope. So Vandersloot was seen smoking marijuana and stating that he was with Holloway when she began convulsing, shaking, then became unresponsive. Vandersloot stated that he attempted to revive her without success. He said that he called a friend, Dad, who told Vandersloot to go home and who disposed of the body. An individual reputed to be this friend, identified in the broadcast as Dari, had denied Vandersloot's account, indicating that he was then in Rotterdam at school. So here's another kid, another name that we have never heard before. All of a sudden, just randomly brought up.
He's
not even there. He's at his own school. What the ever-living hell?
And so then the Aruban prosecutor's office attempted to gain an arrest warrant for Vandersloot based on the tapes. However, the judge finally denied this request, saying too many arrests now. And on February 8th, Vandersloot met with Aruban investigators in the Netherlands and denied that what he said on tape was true, stating that he was under the influence of marijuana at the time. Vandersloot indicated that he still maintains that he left Holloway behind on the beach. And I'm going to go on point that you're not so fucked up on marijuana that you're confessing to crimes.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Nope.
Meth,
any other
heroin, crack, sure. Cocaine, marijuana.
No,
I was smoking a doobie, and so I just freaking, decided to confess to murder after telling everyone and anyone that I didn't do it. Oh wait, I did do it. Oh wait, I didn't do it. What in the hell? It's like a revolving door. It just keeps going. It's like they're stuck in this door. When those doors that you're hoping you're going to get out. Oh, no,
it kept going.
Yeah, this is craziness. So in March 2008, and I don't mean to be making light of this, guys, but this is like, it's
insanity.
It's insanity, and it's funny, but not funny at the same time, because this is completely botched by everyone and anyone that touches this thing. And I'm sad because a family still to this day, 15 years later, has no answers on where their daughter is. It's very sad. But in March 2008, news reports indicated that Vanderim, not Vandersloot, Vanderim, was secretly taped after giving an interview for Aruban television. Vanderim, under the impression that cameras had been turned off, disclosed that he had been a friend of Vandersloot for years, contradicting his statement on DeVry's show that he had met Vandersloot in 2007, that he expected to become a millionaire through his involvement in the Holloway case, and that he knew the person who supposedly disposed of Holloway's body, and that Vandersloot had asked him for 2,000 euros to buy the man's silence. 2,000 euros and to buy a person's silence in a murder case?
No.
Wow.
No.
Wow. We're slumming it. Jeez.
That's Slumdog Millionaire.
Right? Like, man, $2,000 to not say that you killed somebody. That is low prices right there, guys. Yeah. Bargain basement prices right there. Like, I don't understand. Like, is this a Robert Durst situation where, like, the hot mic and he didn't know? Like, what? Really? Come on.
It's insanity. And so, according to Dutch news service ANP, Vander M, who had already signed a book deal, was furious
of course
after learning the taping and was threatened the interviewer who sought legal advice. On November 24th, 2008, Fox News aired an interview with Vandersloot in which he alleged that he sold Holloway into sexual slavery. receiving money both when Holloway was taken and later on to keep quiet. Vandersloot also alleged that his father paid off 2 police officers who had learned that Holloway was taken to Venezuela. Vandersloot later...
Where is this? This is an interview that he does with Fox News?
Yes. Stupid. Why is this the news station you choose to tell this story to?
Well, I don't care about the news station. Who gives a shit about that? I think they all are. We've all agreed that news stations all have their own agendas. Don't get me wrong.
Well, no, I meant like they are going to attack you for
what the hell are you doing
for this?
What are you doing? And now you're
talking
about
slavery?
Sexual slavery? Oh, I didn't kill her, folks. I just sold her ass. Like, what? Oh my God.
And Vandersloot later retracted the statements made in the interview. Fox News also aired part of an audio recording provided by Vandersloot, which he alleged is a phone conversation between him and his father, in which the father displays knowledge of his son's purported involvement in human trafficking. According to...
I'm sorry, I can't. I can't. Like, how has this happened? He gives them a tape to the media that indicates himself and his father? Who are these people?
Yeah, and so according to Moss, this voice heard on the recording is not that of Paulus Vandersloot, his dad. The Dutch newspaper,
the
Telegraph, reported that the father's voice is almost certainly that of Jordan Vandersloot himself, trying to speak in a lower tone.
Of course. Oh my God! What in the ever-loving hell is going on here? So, I'm sorry, guys. I got a moment. I need to take a moment. This is wow.
Sexual slavery to Venezuela, and you created a false tape to give to the media and to implicate your dad.
Are you Norman Bates now, who's having a conversation with his mother, who's been dead for millions of years? Like, what is going on here?
I don't know, man.
Hi, my name is Jordan, and I am so and so. Like,
I am Paul.
I am his father. I trafficked people. Wow, that's terrible, son. We should do something about that. Like, I knew.
It's right. Sexual slavery is not funny, but it's the story is absurd.
The story is absurd.
Like there couldn't be a Lifetime movie.
I write this stuff, guys, okay? I have a show I'm writing that is a fictional crime courtroom kind of thing that I'm doing, all right? I couldn't make this shit up.
Right, you couldn't.
And I'm a good writer.
The batshit bingo card, of this case. I pick Vandersloot going on Fox News and with a false story about sexual slavery and a recording that he made about him and his father and sexual slavery. Bingo!
I call bingo! I've got bingo! My whole card is full! Like, this
There's
is
so many stories!
Bingo. This is just, oh my God! Okay, so in all seriousness, oh my goodness. So on March 20th, 2009, Dave Holloway transported a search dog to Aruba to search a small reservoir in the northern part of the island. The reservoir was previously identified by a supposed witness, 95 of them, by the way, as a possible location of Natalie's remains. Aruban authorities indicated that they had no new information in the case, but that Holloway had been given permission to conduct the search.
He just puts a lot of effort into it. Yeah. And then, so on February 23rd, 2010, it's reported that Vandersloot had stated in an interview that he had
Stop doing interviews!
Yeah, he really needs to shut his fucking mouth.
Like, where is his lawyer telling him to shut up?
Right, like, if you have money, clearly. Where's your lawyer? Where's your lawyer? No more public interviews.
Right? Like, seriously.
So in this interview, he stated that he had disposed of Holloway's body in a marsh in Aruba. A new chief prosecutor, Peter Blacken, indicated that authorities had investigated the latest story and had dismissed it. Blacken stated that the locations, names, and times he gave just did not make sense. And in March 2010, In March 2010, underwater searches were conducted by Aruban authorities after an American couple reported that they were snorkeling when they photographed what they had thought might be human skeletal remains, possibly those of Holloway. Aruban authorities sent divers to investigate, but no remains were ever recovered.
Oh my goodness. So on March 29th, 2010, Vandersloot contacted John Kelly, Holloway's mom's legal representative, with an offer to reveal the location of Holloway's body and the circumstances surrounding her death if he was given advance of $25,000 against a total of $250,000. Now he's trying to extort money from the family to reveal where the hell he took her body. What do you think you're going to do with this money? Dude, if you reveal where you took her and you find her and you killed her, you're going to jail. What the fuck is the $250,000 going to do you then, dude? But whatever. So after Kelly notified the FBI, they arranged to proceed with the transaction. On May 10th, Vandersloot had a $15,000 wire transferred to his account in the Netherlands following the receipt of $10,000 in cash that was videotaped by undercover investigators in Aruba. No shit, really?
Right, you thought this was nothing. There's not
going to go down. Like you were going to really extort money from these people. Fucking unbelievable. Authorities stated that the information that he provided in return was false because the house in which he said Holloway's body was located has not yet been built at the time of her disappearance. Yeah, this is when the father goes down this marsh and he's walking forever, and I mean it's terrible. If you haven't seen the show, it's heartbreaking. I almost feel like telling you not to watch the show because you're not going to gain any more information than what is already out there because it's just a shit show. But anyway, so and the house hadn't even been built at the time of her disappearance. On June 3rd, Vandersloot was charged in the U.S. District Court of Northern Alabama with extortion and wire fraud. Yeah. And on June 30th, Vandersloot was indicted on the charges. At the request of the U.S. Justice Department, authorities conducted a June 4th raid and confiscated items from 2 homes in the Netherlands. One of the homes belonged to reporter Jape Amez, and please, I don't know, yeah, who had previously interviewed, really, because we haven't heard his name yet,
right?
Who previously interviewed Dan Vandersloot and claimed knowledge of his criminal activities. Again, shut your fucking mouth. And Aruban investigators used information gathered from the extortion case to launch a new search at the beach. But again, no new evidence was found.
This is not like a forest. This is a beach. Which is open air. It has been years and over a dozen searches at this beach. Okay. Sand goes back and forth.
Like people come and go. Like, would you think people would have noticed something weird? Whatever. On May 3rd, 2010, 5 years to the day after Holloway's disappearance, Stephanie Flores Ramirez, a new name, a 21-year-old business student, was reported missing in Lima, Peru. She was found dead 3 days later in a hotel room registered in Vandersloot's name. On June 3rd, Vandersloot was arrested in Chile on a murder charge and extradited to Peru the next day. On June 7th, Peruvian authorities said their Vandersloot confessed to killing Flores after he lost his temper because she accessed his laptop without permission and found information linking him to Holloway. Why has this not been searched before then? How did he have information on a laptop that no one searched? Are you kidding
me? And why did you keep that information on your anything?
On your anything, but whatever. Police Chief Cesar Guardia related that Vandersloot told Peruvian police that he that he knew where Holloway's body was and offered to help Aruban authorities find it. However, Guardia stated that the interrogation was limited to their case in Peru, and the questions about Holloway's disappearance were avoided. On June 11th, Vandersloot was charged in Lima Superior Court with first-degree murder and robbery. On June 15, Aruban and Peruvian authorities announced an agreement to cooperate and allow investigators from Aruba to interview Vandersloot in prison in Peru. In a September 2010 interview from the prison, Vandersloot reportedly admitted to the extortion plot, stating, "I wanted to get back at Natalie's family. Her parents have been making my life tough for 5 years. Try losing your child and you running around, yanking them around, telling them you killed her, you didn't kill her, you know where she is, you don't know where she is. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm going to extort them.
Little shithead.
It's a crime."
On January 11th, 2012, Vandersloot pled guilty to murdering Flores and was sentenced to 28 years in prison.
And that's kind of where it's at.
That's all she wrote, folks. This is just sad.
It's sad.
Oh, Jesus.
And kind of like to wrap it up for you guys, in June 2011, so 6 years after her disappearance, Dave Holloway filed a petition with the Alabama courts to have his daughter legally declared dead. The papers were served on his ex-wife, Beth Twitty, who announced her intention to oppose the petition. A hearing was held on September 23, 2011, at which time probate judge Alan King ruled that Dave Holloway had met the requirements for a legal presumption of death On January 12th, 2012, a second hearing was held, after which Judge King signed the order declaring Natalee Holloway to be dead.
And since then, there's been
Nothing.
nothing else. This is just sad, and I feel for that mother, because I understand why she was trying to
hold out hope.
hold out hope. We're moms, we like to hold out hope for that. We don't have a body. I understand it's hard. It's
well,
tragic.
I think they're afraid that then if you declare her dead, then the authorities aren't going to look for her body.
Exactly. We've seen that in cases. And I mean, I guess there is a distinct possibility that she was sold into sexual slavery, but even if she was sold into sexual slavery, it's been 15 years. She might be dead in that case too. So either which way you're looking at it, your daughter's not coming back. Yeah. It's just very sad. It's very sad. And I know we laughed a lot through this, guys, but
it's the story, not the
not the actual case itself. It's very heartbreaking. I really do feel for the Holloway family. It's terrible that they've never been given closure in this, that they've been yanked around, extorted. Like, who does this shit? Yeah, I'll tell you where your daughter's dead body is. I killed her. I know where she is. Can you give me $250,000? Like, I've never heard anything like this in my entire life. Like, I hate to tell you this, but generally demands for money are made before you kill the person.
Well, and do you think that, throughout his many arrests and his previous issues with law enforcement, that maybe the Netherlands would have revoked his passport for a hot minute? Because if they had, then he wouldn't have been in Peru to kill that girl.
Well, he might have killed one in Netherlands, though. I mean, is it?
He's just traveling the world, being a skeevy dude.
And who knows if there's anybody else that he killed. I mean, generally you don't go that many years and not without. If you've done it and you're doing it again, I bet you there's more. I mean, I'm just saying.
It's sad. It's sad.
Very sad.
Statistically.
Yeah. Statistically. It just, how sad. That's absolutely terrible. Like I said, I really feel for the Holloway family, and I'm sure that this has caused extreme strife between them. I'm sure she's, her mom's wanting to keep the case open and hope, and her dad is like, enough's enough. I'm tired. I've done everything I can to find my daughter, and I can't find her. And
I'm sure if not Vandersloot, I don't think they believe a single thing he says at this point, but they might even, if somebody had said, if one of the brothers says, yes, I helped transport her body, and
yeah, that's what it's going to take.
Someone's going to roll over,
but and keep their story that they can prove. It's got to be a provable story, and it's got to be a story that makes sense, and they don't change 5 minutes after they say it, and give an interview, and then decide to change it. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to say that in that interview. Oh, wait, I did mean to say that in that interview. Oh, wait, I totally didn't mean to give that interview. I didn't know I was being interviewed. What? Like, seriously? What in the hell is going on? Christ on a cracker. This is crazy.
And so if there was a credible story of information, I 100% believe that Dave Holloway and the Twitties would drop everything and go down there and look again.
Oh, absolutely. It's heartbreaking. It is. And the grief and the absolute helplessness that they must feel, And sadly, I don't feel like anybody else is like, well, I haven't heard anything about like the chaperones coming out and saying, oh my God, we're so sorry we lost your child. Yeah. Or the friends coming out and being like, well, what do the friends know? The friends have to know something.
Right, they shared a room with her. They were with her every morning.
Every morning.
The last person with her at the bar.
Oh, yeah.
There's details that somebody knows somewhere.
There's some things missing here, exactly. Anyway. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We have several things coming up for you that you're going to be wanting to tune in. We're going to have our special guests on, all throughout the months. We have new people that we've they're wonderful experts that are going to be joining us from time to time on these cases, talking about new cases, old cases. We're super, 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 super excited. We'll be appearing on Web Sleuths on an episode all about Scott Peterson and Gypsy Rose Blanchard, which is where we got started. And so you're just going to want to keep on coming back. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our good true crime stuff. Hey guys, so a couple nights ago, we launched a special campaign along with Cheryl McCollum from the Cold Case Research Institute called Love Wins. And what this is it is our answer to all the chaos that's kind of going on right now. The chaos from the riots, the chaos from all the different, pandemic, everything that's happening in our lives right now, all the issues with, the different lost lives that we've had from before the protesting, after the protesting. So all the lost lives that have come out of this, the lost lives of COVID even. And so #LoveWins is a movement to usher in peace, and knowing that above all, the only way that we're going to get through all of this is loving each other. So what we're actually doing here is we are creating a scholarship fund in remembrance of all the lost lives in 2020 so far, and ushering in peace. And this scholarship fund will go to anyone that wants to go ahead and enter to win. The criteria is really cool. All you have to do is make a 30-second video of yourself and explaining to us how you lead with love. And we are looking for college-age students that are, struggling. Maybe they can't get scholarships. Maybe there's a reason, that they aren't available for them, or it's just not enough for them. And so this is our way of helping out. We're hoping to raise about $5,000. If we raise more than that, then we'll look into giving more than one scholarship away. The way that we're doing this is we have some merchandise. It's #LoveWins merchandise. And there's also Lead with Love merchandise. They've got shirts, cups, mugs, stickers, anything you could possibly want. And we're going to have it on a couple different platforms. Currently, we're doing some on TeePublic, but I'm working on some on Cafe Press too, because they have a lot more variety of merchandise. And so we'll be donating a portion of the proceeds that we collect on this merchandise to the scholarship fund that we are creating. And then we also have a GoFundMe that will be listed in the show notes of our YouTube show and our podcast. And you guys can click on it and you can donate any amount you'd like. And all of the proceeds from that are going to go ahead and go to the scholarship fund. And we'll be showing you exactly how the money is distributed, how it's collected. We're going to be very transparent with this. We're working with some amazing professionals that from like Cheryl from the Cold Case Institute, David Lampley from the Oliphant Institute, the leading death investigator, Joseph Scott Morgan. So we're working with all of them to really show how much love wins over everything and bringing peace to a country that we really need it right now. So that's what we're doing. And we're going to go ahead and play our entries at the top of every podcast and every YouTube until we choose a winner. And our special guests that we have each week, the different people that come on and are here with us, Cheryl and Stephen and Joseph, they'll all be a part of choosing that lucky winner or winners, depending on how much we end up getting donated. So I hope that you guys join us in #LoveWins. And we hope that we get some really great entrants, because we really want to see how you lead with love. Thanks so much for tuning in and dishing true crime with the Good Wives and Murder by Design. Don't forget to join our Patreon member club to get exclusive mini episodes, inside documents and pictures from the case, live YouTube discussions, our exclusive discussion group on Facebook, and get some amazing Good Wives merchandise.
And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at True Crime Wives. And for more inside information, check out our podcast, The Good Wives Guide to True Crime, on any of your favorite podcast players.
Have a good one from The Good Wives, serving up true crime one dish at a time.